If you hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and write me at the email address I have listed, I'll make sure you get an invite for when we go dragon egg hunting around the world, discovering new pyramids that are greater and bigger than the Great Pyramid in Giza, and we'll exchange galactic codes and do a lot of other fun stuff. You'll understand once you watch this video. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Daryl, it is such a joy to be with you once again. How are you?
I am terrific, and we are going to have a lot of fun.
This is what's amazing is like, to me, it's like I'm showing up for work, but not really. But I still keep telling me that this is what I do, you know?
Yeah, it's just terrific, terrific. So I like to start off with just inviting all my spirit guides, and then an open invitation for any of them that just wants to come through and come out with an opening statement or vibration to give us advice and love.
Yeah. Okay, so as soon as you invited in all your guides and your team, of course it was a flood, right? And the dragons are always there, but they're strong in your field, but they weren't kind of the rush of this. From what I got was so they were galactics who moved to the forefront, who wanted to give you the first set of messages. Give me a second to identify them a little more clearly, please. Uh, I'm sorry, I have to just me and words sometimes don't work when I don't. So I'm just going to go through a quick muscle test to just see who I'm talking to. Okay.
I
So,
get it. I get it. Yeah.
okay. So it's somewhat of a subset of the Andromedans, not what we would call Andromedans, but it's somewhat in that field of they're part of the galaxy. Uh,
Andromedan Fairy?
yeah, it's more like, so what I'm kind of seeing is like, if you can imagine a system which had more than one populated planet. And the Andromedans were the ones who were the more spacefaring, but this was more of a different race that was more energetically in tuned and is now using the connections that the technology advanced Andromedans are using to follow up with the spiritual advancement. So I'm trying to see what they want me to call them. And I'm sorry, I keep getting images or getting the word Andromeda like the camel, but they're not that. So I'm going to call them the Big D for now. And they're smiling.
Okay.
Okay. The Andromeda and Big D.
Okay.
Hello, Daryl. What we are so happy to make this connection with you about is you understand that you are not just a person on earth doing life. I mean, you've done that. I think the great teacher that you call Jesus, many people don't understand that he spent the first 30 years of his life living what would be called traditional living in that time, doing traditional job and work in that time. You had your period. A little bit longer than 30 years, where you were doing the traditional understanding of what one does when they're born on a planet and they live their life and have relations and business and all that stuff. Then you went from 0 to 60. You just dropped all your veils and said, oh my God, this is not what I came here to do. That was just learning how to do it in a physical plane. That was all the preparation for me to do what I came to do, which is be this change agent catalyst for humanity. And they're telling me, and I'm going to repeat this because you and I had a conversation before this about you're here to show people with fun. Okay. You're here to show, and this is my comment. I'm going to turn it back over to them now, is that what you embody and what you demonstrate is what it looks like to have a greater consciousness, a great being fully living in 3D. Now, if we can move the planet, which is what you are here for to demonstrate and help do, if we can move your planet to the point where it is an entire race of people living with the wholeness and the fullness and the bigness. That's it, the expansiveness of your consciousness brought into the physicality of the earth plane. That is when the miracles are going to happen. You well know you have used Peter, we're mining Peter's memory, so we can give you these words. You call it the harvest, and you well know that we're here for the harvest, and this is going to be a time where many people move into ascension, but it is not how it has been throughout the rest of the universe and the cosmos, where a group moves spiritually. We have done that on our planet. It's why we separated from the Andromedans to be the spiritual arm, so to speak, of what they're doing. The Earth experiment is completely new in that it wants to go in the other direction and bring the spirit down into more of a physicality. You're not going to go all the way into 3D with this. You're going to go into 4D with it, which is the new life you're creating. So we're here to one, affirm that this is what you're doing, and two, to celebrate it. Now, we would offer you guidance for this, except you already have that. So anything we say now is going to be like the kindergarten teacher going up to their teacher and saying, "Oh, Miss Jones, can I teach you how to do this?" when you already know how to do it. So what we want to do to give you the message is you already do this. You embody play in your actions and all that you do. You laugh, you're in a state of joy all the time, which is where humanity is coming. So if the other, if you did want any advice, so to speak, what we would give you is, can you create more interactive experiences where you're actually with people in your day and age of the online? You do this quite beautifully when you have your groups and you do your presentations, and people laugh and learn. Quite beautiful. We are going to give you a nudge to move it into more physical events, meetups, different times. You happen to live in one of the largest population centers on the planet. And if you choose to just say, okay, this Thursday, a week from now, we're at this location, right? That kind of thing is going to carry an impetus that you're not fully aware of the power of. Being in the physical presence of the space you create and being able then to just through your playful banter and interaction, that's all it is. It doesn't have to be the teaching session or the guru session. No, uh, excuse us, Peter is interrupting because he just learned a new word over the weekend. He was doing what he called coffee yoga, and his friend said, "Oh, is that the non-alcoholic version of the 12-ounce curl?" Right? So even if you do nothing other than just lift your arms in a drink, by being in the presence with people, you're going to start to carry. In the traditions up until now, it was always that somebody would work their lifetime to be in the presence of a master, and after years and decades of following that master, the master would give them a Shakti pot, and they would have a transmission, and they would move into a higher state. More recently, you're seeing avatars on the planet who are doing this en masse through their hands, through their eyes, but it's always done in a religious context with the blessing. Okay, and it's an event to activate people. Part of that was instrumental in Peter gaining his abilities, of course. Now, what we wish to talk to you about is, can you do this in your beautiful Daryl style of joy and fun, not make it some come to some event, just simply we're going to give you all this transmission and stuff, and there's worship and bowing and teaching. None of that. Can you just do what you do best, which is have the joy and the party of your existence in more physical groups where people know that they're showing up with the intention to be in that group? So, what do you call it in your world? Osmosis? It rubs off on them. So that is what we wish to tell you, is you already know what you're doing and you already know how to do it. We just want to encourage you to do it more physical, because we are a species that evolved by separating ourselves and being alone and focusing on the spirit end of things. And it's great and wonderful, but you are now bridging the gap that we benefited from in creating, but now you're going to create a new species entirely, the evolved human. And this is one way you can accelerate that.
Excellent. I mean, what I got was that my gift to people, my teaching people, is simply my frequency. I actually don't need to say anything or do anything. I can do it because it helps snap it down into 3D, but all they're absorbing is my frequency, and that's what's the gift that all of us can give each other. Um,
Yeah. And they
yeah.
just want you to start. creating opportunities for more of it to do that. Because right now, the tendency, at least for me, and I'm guessing for you, is you run with your circle of friends and they're all doing well, but that's a slow way to distribute it.
Excellent. Good point. I do want to make a comment that when you said 0 to 60, what's interesting about that comment is that I didn't start this until I was 60 years old. So I lived a normal life until 60. And then when I came 60, I'm 63 now. So I've been doing this for 3 years.
Holy,
So
I'm
yeah,
only 3 years. I mean, because
yeah,
when I talk to you, your level of understanding is like to
yeah,
me
yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
and I've been at this for decades. Daryl,
Yeah.
salute, brother,
Yeah,
salute.
yeah, it's all been fun. Yeah, we're gonna probably come back to the galactic energy, but you know, and I know the dragon energy is beating down, and then I'm gonna, my next couple of questions are gonna be for the Dragon Collective. So if we can call them in, and I know they're there, I can feel them. They want, yeah, they want to come through. So my question to the Dragon Energy Collective is that. I just came back from Peru trip, of which they were a part of. We went to various sacred sites, Machu Picchu, Lake Titicaca, um, um, Amaru Muru, some other stargates and sacred sites. From the dragon energy perspective, can they give me some insights about what happened there from their perspective? I know what I saw, but I'll be interested in hearing what they can tell me from their perspective.
So, first of all, let me just tap in because when we did that activation together in 1111, thank you for sending that link out to all the people that you forwarded to. It's still online, it's still on the YouTube channel, so it's not too late. My dragon skills in connection have gone way up, and half a dozen other people are now telling me I'm talking to dragons now too. So cool. So just want to personally say that before I tap in. Daryl. Okay, so here's what happened. You
Okay.
crossed the threshold. Okay, that was what it was. It was literally like a simple step. Oh, you thought you were taking a trip and you were doing whatever rituals and all this other stuff. And what do we call it? You call it activations. All right, that's what you were doing. That all happened. But what it was the threshold was crossed. And this changes everything now because now the doorway is open and wide open and established for dragon energy to be here. And this is why Peter mentioned him and his friends had such an effect with their ability to connect. And that threshold that was crossed was from the energetic to the physical. We were listening in when the big D were talking from Andromeda, and we can confirm all that, and we can tell you that this is what it is the physicality is now imbued for anybody who wishes to tap into that. That was what the threshold crossed. That means it was no it was no small thing that you took our picture. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
That was a big that reveal has
yeah,
not
yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I kept on describing it as we opened the big fucking door for all the
Yes.
dragons to go
Yep.
through and the
And you not
ETs.
just
But yeah.
opened it, but you crossed into physical manifestation of it. Okay. And so that's it. And uh, that was the whole point. The portals open, and now connections go both ways. And those who choose can draw into this energy to create whatever they desire in their physical reality. Because let's face it, we are creator energy in a big concentrated way.
Hmm.
And they can also not just draw the energy, but they can step through to our side, which is first going to look like what is happening when you did your meditation. People would talk about they speak with dragons. And
Hmm.
then the next step was somebody got a picture. You, of course, got a picture. The next step is physically seeing, and that is not that far off. Peter's hesitant because he never likes to give words to dates whenever we give dates, and anybody gives dates, he's hesitant, but uh, we're making him say it anyway. Uh, we're about 2 years away from people reporting physical contact. And of course, you could be at the forefront of that if you wish. It's more than just, oh, we're here and you see us. It's more than that. It's that the density changes that we have to make to be in the physical space of where you're at. And Earth is moving up nicely, very, very nicely. But still, there's still a little bit of ground to be covered.
And then part of our human is that we need to raise our density and understanding of dragons in order to make the environment more conducive for us to meet. So
This is me talking, but they're confirming they want me to tell you this. So, one of the teachers I followed for a while was Analia Benz, and she talks to ETs and has physical interactions with them all the time, right?
yeah.
And she said, "Look, the first time I had one, I was scared and I ran." Not her words, but how I understood it. She goes, "You're in a human body. You're going to have a physical reaction to the presence of a dragon, especially with all the programming that's gone on." So there's a lot of not just raising your vibration, but also dealing with the fact that you're going to unconsciously go into terror to start with. And that gap is why it's, and so when this is them talking now, when we say 2 years, we don't mean boom, they're flying above New York and everybody sees them. We mean a handful of people are going to start doing that. And as those people can anchor and hold more of the grounded space of this is a relation and it is safe and it is loving, then others will move into it and we'll see that. So, they're giving me the number of decades,
Yeah.
plural,
Yeah.
before it becomes more than just a few people. But within a couple of years, there's going to be people saying, "Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
a dragon. Oh, here's a footprint."
It's a very similar process to people seeing ETs, right? It's going to be slowly worked into the collective consciousness at the perfect timing and perfect amount for every individual and the collective consciousness to ease it in so it's not shocking or, surprise. So, yeah, I get the process. It sounds terrific.
That's exactly what they're saying. Although they're saying, "Oh no, 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 we're going to have so much more style and panache
Of course they are.
than ETs, of course." They just wanted to add that.
Okay, okay. All right. I'm gonna stick on the dragon theme because while I was at Peru, so a very interesting thing came to me, which is that there are people around the world who are carrying dragon eggs. They are physical um, crystals of dragon eggs, and they have been placing it at certain places on Earth. And this is an activity that I kind of sense it was happening, but I never really thought about it. But I actually saw one of those dragon eggs that a shaman's been carrying for, decades and decades. And I also know that certain dragon eggs are supposed to go to certain spots, and it has to do with the Earth grid, and it has to do with this time of ascension. I get like the final dragon egg has to be placed in Antarctica. I'm not even sure if it's found yet, but there are various dragon eggs that are found, and they're connecting to various sacred sites. And I'm trying to paste together the pieces, but I'm wondering, do the dragons have any info on that?
Yeah. So first of all, this is Peter talking.
Yeah.
Uh, I have to get over my shock at what you just said. Huh? Okay, so I just need to get that out of the system, or else I'm going to muddy up everything that comes through. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let me start with what they showed me at first, and then once I talk through it, I'll be more in line with the energy because, like I said, this was a big stretch for me, and I'll be able to get more clear words and language. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so first of all, they want to talk about. Okay, so when you say eggs, this is truth. However, there's a multidimensionality to it. And that's going to be clear in that sometimes what looks like just a beautiful rock crystal, uh, what did they call them in India? Lingam? Okay, those shapes. Sometimes it's going to look like that. And these are really have been dragon eggs. And so there's more to it going on than just, oh, this is the egg. There's variations of it across the spectrum, varying degrees of the energy because it's a multidimensional thing. Now, having
Mhm.
said that, you are correct in that there are certain ones that are more aligned to carrying what was an egg, and there are actually certain eggs that are still going to be mostly uncovered. Uh, I'm unclear about this, Peter, but what I can interpret to the best of my ability right now is no one's really found the full egg. They found the solidified, uh, fossilized things that, are what I talked about earlier on that dimensional spectrum. And when you talked about the final egg, Daryl, you were talking about when they actually get these in their hand. Although they're telling me that the shaman friend you were with is very likely to be among those people because of the energy he can carry, and that they're saying now is the energetic of the person is as important as the energetic of the artifact in mixing together to create the ability to see it for what it is and to place it correctly. And they're also saying that many people will just be drawn automatically, just like you felt like you knew to go to Peru. All right, okay, they're going to go, I don't know why I should go here. There's a certain group that's running around on the planet that me, Peter, is friends with. They call themselves stone keepers. They don't like to go public with what they're doing. They don't like to reveal themselves. But I know these people. And one of them actually, when I met one, he showed me uh, some crystals he had and put the light on it and like, can you see the dragon right here? And I did not know until this moment that, oh, so some of these people don't know that they know they're carrying dragon eggs, but they're more energetic eggs at this point, and they don't really know the full thing of what they're doing, but do know to go to place them in certain places. Now, the Arctic one that you're talking about, we look at that, the Dragon Collective looks at that as a capstone. Okay. And so this other grid work needs to be put into place. And then the one that finally is there is the big activation. So all the ones,
That's my God. It's the last one. It's the
yeah,
last dragon egg. Yeah,
yeah.
it's Antarctica.
Yeah, and the other ones are going to build the lattice, but it's not going to look like much or do much, and there won't be energy. Then all of a sudden, it'll be, like we said earlier, 0 to 60. As soon as the last one goes in place, it becomes alive and everything like that. Uh, and they're saying that if you choose to, you have enough awareness and consciousness that could present itself to you as part of your Earth adventure, because they like you, of course, because you are them and they are you. But uh, there's going to be many people involved in this, most of whom you know, but several who you do not. That's what they're telling me. Now, what they're telling me about this grid work thing that's happening as far as the capstone. Uh, okay, so everybody understands that uh, when you do grid work, you're talking about certain energetics to activate certain chakras, so to speak, of the earth. And the result is a Merkaba. And people understand that the earth, because it's spinning and it's got different elements in it, iron core, sun energy, and I mean, it's creating a whole field. What you're doing is now placing different keystones. I can't get the correct word, so I'm just using keystones in certain places, which then change the dynamic of the Earth's spin and the solar energy. And it's not just sun solar energy, it's central sun solar energy. So that certain things get lit up and activated and become Merkaba. This is what you are well aware of in your sacred geometry, your Metatron's cube, and all the other different beautiful shapes that have been created. This is going to be a unique shape, the dragon shape, of course, and its purpose is specific to power activation. Most of humanity has understood that there's a power game going on, but they are afraid, oh, root of all evil kind of thing. If you're powerful, you're bad. What can I do with it? This is, look at people, they have war. This is such a strong power. Nobody should have it. All that's going to fall away. And when we say power activation, we are talking about realizing that, wow, I am a God. God, source, creator, being incarnate, but short shorthand, I am a God. And they're going to start to act as that. And now, what is triggering and what's keeping humanity on the slow path is what you're here to help heal is the fear of everything that's been done with power. And what people fail to understand and what's going to happen through this grid work being built, which is why we have to build it before we can activate it, is people are going to come to understand and realize you're not just a god because you're powerful. You're a God because you encompass all the love of all that is. You can't have power without that love. You can't have creation without that love. You can focus as much as you want, and that will give you basically clay shapes, but it doesn't become infused and real until the connection is there, and that connection is the essence of love. So, this is Peter talking now. Who'd have thunk it that, the dragons are going to teach us how to love. Okay. All right. So this whole thing about a trip to power back to them, this whole thing about a moving into the embodiment of this power is moving into the actualization of love. Most people on your earth understand love as a concept or written great books about it. Occasionally they get so far as to a movie. All right, but they never get past the physical sexuality in the expression of what the power of love is like. They have not made the connection that love is the force that binds creation together, that solidifies the reality, that makes the consciousness expressed in its own way individually, separate from the fragmentation of the source. That is all love that allows that. And that is this transformation that's coming through. So, what is being built in this grid work and what you're doing is empowering love, making it physically active, and breaking it out of most people's understandings because most people, and even advanced people, their understanding of active love is a sexual act. And it is so much more because it is a creation act.
Excellent. Got it. So
Yeah,
you kind of
Daryl, you just
answered this.
blow my mind when you ask me questions because these answers come through, and I'm like, what?
I don't know. Yeah, I remember when I first heard of the Dragon Age, I was like, "What?" And then I go, oh, "Okay, makes sense. All right." But yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I was gonna ask this question, but you kind of answered. It's like, do I have a role in going to a sacred site with the Dragon Age, and within you? And you actually answered that if I want to, right? Everything is, if it brings me joy,
Right.
I can do it. So let me pivot and re-ask that. What would the Dragons recommend for a particular site for me to go to if I wanted to investigate that? Is there a site that's ripe for the picking, so to speak?
This is fun. This is fun. Uh, this is Peter. Give me a second to feel into this energy. I used to have a friend who could just mine the Akash at will in seconds. So he could like, where's this submarine buried in the ocean? Here, and just that kind of stuff. And I'm getting a sense of that, but I haven't practiced it yet. So give me a little bit of time here, Daryl, to just adjust to this. You're pushing my boundaries, brother.
It's fun.
Yeah. Okay, so they're showing me Eastern Europe, and I forget which country it is that the pyramids are buried there. But it's not Slovakia, but it's kind of in that area. Not quite I don't say I don't know my geography well enough to say if it's the Balkans or not, and it's not just Bohemia, but kind of kind of above that, a little bit further north in Eastern Europe, where the pyramids are buried. And they're saying that that would be your place to start to explore because those pyramids weren't just put there for no reason, and they're old enough that they've been buried, which is
Yes.
means they go all the way back to the time when the dragons were present. And they're saying that you are the kind of guy where if you just headed in that area, one synchronicity will lead to the next, and you'll find where it is you need to go. But that's where they're pointing you towards is looking at the buried pyramids in Eastern Europe, which are
Yeah.
bigger than the Egyptian ones that are exposed.
So are those uncovered yet? I mean, there are pyramids all over the world, so they're all kind of there, but are
So
there?
these are not uncovered, although people there you can start to do like tours and people will take you to the areas and they all look like perfectly formed mountains and the trees are on them and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's in that area
Yeah.
and saying in some of those small village areas, if you actually get off the beaten trail, you will run into, they will make certain that if you take the time to go there, you will run into people who will just show up and say, oh, by the way. And that's when you're
Gotcha.
going to start to go, aha, here's the missing piece. Because I apologize. My skill level of interpreting names and places and stuff like that is not where I would like it to get to.
I can pull it down. I kind of get some of the vibration that you're referring. It sounds like fun. Okay, got it. So this is also kind of related to dragon. While in Peru, I think I met a very powerful dragon. She's her name is Queen Shiwa. She guards Lake Titicaca. I think she's part water dragon and air dragon. Um, she's a protector of Lake Titicaca, and I had a very special interaction with her and Isis and Osiris, as she basically gave me a scepter that belonged to me way back, when I'm Galactic speaking, and we had a beautiful interaction. Can she or can someone speak about that?
So she, soon as her presence filled me. As soon as you mentioned her name, what did you say? Oh, Shiwa.
The Shiwa.
Yeah,
Yes.
Shiwa. Anyway, so she's like, their first words were, "Hey, lover boy, now you're letting everybody know that you and I are a thing." And she's joking. She's being flirty when she says that. Okay.
Yeah.
She's also saying, you're aware of, or if you're not, she's going to make you aware of that before you were incarnate and before she was in the embodied state that she was in the older times when she was on the planet, you and her hung out a lot. You were in the same family tree as far as not soulmates but buds, that grouping that likes to hang with each other a lot. She doesn't.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, that's why she was joking with the "hey lover boy" stuff.
Yeah.
Now what she wants to say here for you to hear in this moment is, okay, Daryl, enough flirting. Let's get serious. Okay, so you understood through your interactions with Lake Titicaca and when you anointed yourself and ingested yourself with the essence of the water there, that it was more than just the water and the spirit of the lake, because I am an integral part of the spirit of the lake. Yes, it is its own distinct entity. Your Northern European myths of the Lady of the Lake, those are real things, and there is a real spirit in Titicaca. Of course, her name is Titicaca. And but I am intermixed with her energy and yours now. Okay. And what the interaction that we're having now is starting to understand. Peter does not have a word in his vocabulary for it, so we're going to use some other words that he already is familiar with. The fractal nature of facets of a diamond. Okay, so you can look at a diamond and you see this face, and it's Shiwa. You look at a diamond, you see this face, it's Spirit of Titicaca. Look at a diamond, you see this face. Okay, so you're starting to understand the fractal nature of this. Now, what this represents is a high level ability to move through the oneness field. In the oneness field, you automatically know you're connected to everything, you sense everything, and you feel it. Now you're starting to become a connoisseur, a fine master of it, and starting to see the fractal ability to move from this little adjustment in the field creates this personality, consciousness, whatever you choose to call it, a fractal expression of source that we all are. Now, the reason I'm making this connection with you is you automatically do this without knowing that you do this, that you can just shift and see and connect all the entities and the variations of the entities. But this is something as you move forward with, you will may wish to consider become a teacher of, because it's a field that people don't understand. A lot of people are confused. For example, in your commonplace, everybody will say that they had a past life where they felt they were Christ, or they were felt they were this great person or that great person. And that was because of the fractalization nature of a great consciousness that then can imbue with each person who makes the personal connection to it. So this is a teaching that's unfolding on the planet, is of course you have these connections. And yes, you are indeed, in that case of the example, the Christ, or in this case, the example of the lake. You are that. And You're not that. You're the awareness that's perceiving the totality connection of it, and you can let that come through you as much as you can. So the relationship I have with you is this demonstration, and it's being presented here because we know that you make these sessions public. So this is going to become a teaching tool point for many people to start to understand that, oh yeah, uh, I do have a personal relationship with this divine source energy, in this case, me, the dragon, that you were, you know, playful, loved with a long time ago. Uh, and you also have so much more in the connection as you choose to move it. And that makes not just me, the entity who was connected to you, aware of this connection. That makes me, the entity who is now connected to you, grow and expand in my scope and reach and connectivity. So part of this is understanding that as you learn and people learn that they have these little pieces in them of all the great beings, that it's not just them being imbued with it and growing, but it is us, the what you would call the great beings, that are growing from it as well. People always wondered, and to our understanding, and Peter's having trouble with this concept, so we're going to walk him through it as best we can. To our understanding, everybody says, oh, the divine fractalized, and it's one big adventure of getting back to the divine, right? So it's like the Big Bang explodes and it collapses, and that's incorrect. It's doing both simultaneously. It's continuing to grow and expand and getting back to more and more awareness of what that expansiveness has been created. And the process that we described earlier is vital to bringing the growth to those higher aspects. And that is where they're connected enough to what you would call the individual stuff, like the consciousnesses on earth, connected enough to realize that. So then it all grows and gets fulfilled. So this is Peter. Sorry I muddled that up, but that's the best I could explain what they were showing me.
I got it. No, I know exactly what you're saying. So perfect, perfect. I don't know if I can explain it better to the world, but I downloaded what you're saying, and it makes perfect sense.
This is one of those things where you have to walk it through or talk it through a few times before you say, okay, these words kind of work, but I'm not sure we're there yet.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this is going to be kind of a fun one. A couple of years ago, the Dragon Collectors actually inserted a staff into my crown chakra, and they said this is for it's codes for a later time. During this late Titicaca visit where I had interaction with Shee, um, she presented me with that staff. So I think it's the same staff that a few years ago the Dragon Collective inserted into my crown chakra, and I kept on getting this visualization that it's just coming down through my spine and lining up my chakras and the dragon energy pulsing through. And it's a combination of physicality blending into other forms. And if anyone can say something about that, I'm just kind of piecing together the pieces of that.
So she'll continue, okay?
Okay.
And she said, uh, everything you said is correct, but we want to elaborate. When you were given the staff, you were given it in terms of download, and you understand that uh, the staff is not a thing like an artifact. The staff is an energetic representation which shows up within your field, which is why we could, even though you have it in your field, it's why we can give it to you again.
Yeah.
And this
Okay.
is also to demonstrate to you the true function and aspect. When originally it was given to you, it was like what you would call in your parlance a thumb drive that had data on it. Okay. And you have successfully integrated that data, gotten the downloads. But now it no longer functions as that. Now it functions as the antenna to keep the connection open full time so that as you start to access information, you just see it as, oh, I got this download and I got this understanding. But now you're getting a deeper download and understanding. Oh, and this is the energetic mechanism that allows that. Yeah.
Continuous flow. Yeah. Okay.
And then once you get used to that, the next step is you can say, okay, rather than me just being a passive receiver, what can I reach through this connection and pull into me that I desire next? Okay, so it's like it's a combination. It started off as a download key, and then it's going to becoming a wireless connector, like a LAN in our language. This is Peter talking, and now it's going to move into uh, a portal where you on this side say, "Oh, bring it through." So, and that's what you said when you described it. She was telling me when you were describing the alignment of the energies around your spine and everything. Again, that's the Merkaba image, but it's happening in your body, which is what you're going to create on the whole planet. Okay, so he said she's saying if you want to get some more insight into that earlier discussion, you can start to notice those patterns and energetics in your body, and then just move your vision away from your body and stick the globe in there and go, oh, that's where these places are. Okay. And so that's where it's heading with that. So you're in phase two of three that Peter Me is aware of.
Perfect, perfect. Makes perfect sense. Perfect. So I'm gonna leave this open for the dragons or the ETs. So in Peru, we visited various stargates, and we had certain instructions to do certain things to open stargates. And one was the crystal that I gave Peter was I saw a key that fit into a particular Stargate. I think it's called Amaru Muru, but anyhow, names are irrelevant. We all know the Stargate that I'm picturing. Can the ETs or the dragons give me their perspective of what happened there? I know what I saw was unbelievable and the energetics, but I would like to hear their perspective.
Okay. So, first of all, this is Peter, and thank you for this gift. And I literally keep it by my desk. And when I do sessions with clients, it's in my hand most of the time. So, thank you. All right. Uh, so yeah. So this is the ET collective. I'm trying to figure out just which one, but for now, I'm just going to call it the Galactics because there's a lot of them going, ooh me, ooh me, ooh me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to call it the Galactics. Uh, and the Celestines, who aren't even galactics, they're dimensional beings that have helped me. I actually have a photo of one, like right
Oh, I know
there.
them. You introduced me. I love them.
Yeah, anyway, they're part of this message as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So first of all, we wish to clear up a misunderstanding that is going through the spiritual uplift community. Many of you have started to understand that these sacred ancient sites were built with the assistance of entities like us who were able to do it. And you have all your beautiful shows, your ancient aliens, and they show that these cuts with that are so precise that tools in your time now can't even make them. And so the mistake part is you assume we did that. No, we assisted with you
You.
at different times using this technology.
Yes.
And what took place with you when you opened this portal was the demonstration to mankind again. You were just a demonstrator on this trip, step after step, Mr. Darrell. Uh, you were the demonstration of what happens when a human in a body applies the technology of consciousness to artifacts that have been created for these purposes. Okay.
Yes.
And that is when the portals open. That is when the energy came about. It's not, and this is the mistake that people make. One is, first of all, they attribute it to an outside source. We did that. No, 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 no. We empowered you to do that. Then they make the second mistake of saying, oh, well, these are special people who have abilities and insight. And when in fact, this was the same thing with the Christ teachings that have been on your planet. Christ was here to demonstrate to you what is possible. In his words, you shall be doing these beautiful miracles. Okay. And instead, they put him on a pedestal. He's the Son of God. Let turn our will and our lives over to him. He'll take care of it. Okay. So now you're in that same place, and you're here. Your actions are demonstrations of the interaction of consciousness with technology. And
Mhm.
this is half Peter, but they're showing me this, so I'm going to do my best to explain it. Uh, throughout your time on the planet, when the collective consciousness was ready for a step forward, it would pray and an avatar would show up to be the teacher and give it to you. And these avatars weren't just spiritual beings. This is how you got breakthroughs in physics and, even some of your great sports athletes. Okay. Uh, Now you're at the point where you're saying that, seeing that when the collective conscious desires something, enough people in a group can create a technology to demonstrate it before it happens. It wasn't that long ago where you can walk through an airport corridor, terminal, you call it, and see 100 people with things in their ear talking to 1,000 people miles and miles away. Your children, babies who grow up being carried in the arms of the person doing it, think it's just natural that you automatically connect and touch two people thousands of miles away. In other words, you built a technology system to demonstrate the telepathic abilities that were coming to humanity. Your own devices became the avatar. No external source was sent to you to give this. You used your own devices to create it, and then your technology is what's teaching you. You and what you did, but the portal opening was the merge and the final state of all of this. When technology is no longer an external thing, where it's activated by the presence and consciousness of the individual there. And that then opens up portals. Uh, Peter has said often in this discussion here and with you that since you did the activation on 11/11 with your group and his group, that many people now have stronger connections or big new connections to dragons that did not have before. Even in the comments on the YouTube, people are saying, well, I haven't met a dragon before, but now I talk to them. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're demonstrating what it's like to bring consciousness to the creation of a technology or to the application of a technology. And you're taking the leap away from the incorrect thing of, oh, this was done by us. Oh, this was done by great beings. Now you're saying, no, this is done by human beings who just go to Peru and have fun.
Yeah.
And so that's what the whole metaphor of what took place was. Now, as far as the specifics of it, you know, you peeled back the mirror and you looked into the eye of God. So, what is it you want to say about that? What do you want to call it? Call it whatever you want. It was all open to you. And that is the final step of this phase of understanding is when you apply consciousness with intent to technology. All of creation is now available to you.
Yeah. What is the power and efficacy of synergy when you do it with a group and you do it at a site that has energy vortexes from Gaia? I mean, it's just synergy that builds on it, right? I mean, one person can do it alone, but there's energies to build on it and synergies. Can you speak to that?
Yes. So this is again, this is actually the Celestines talking. They're moved strictly to the forefront. And they go, you're understanding the whole game was always to get into oneness. Well, what do you think a group is? Okay. Now, there are certain, Peter uses the analogy of organization. The more organized a conscious is, the more powerful the effect it has. Okay. And when one person is highly organized, they can influence 1,000 people around them unknowingly. They'll just start coming into the field of this is a very strong pattern. I'm aware of it, and it'll permeate their unconscious. Now, when you're in a group, you up the level of organization. Two people together create an organized field. And then if you get a dozen people, it's more organized simply because they're all holding a similar intent. It's literally that simple. They're holding a similar intent and experience. Now, you hold it on a site. What makes a site sacred was uh, your 3D aspects, repetition and time. It happened there a lot. So, yes, this was a place of power, all right, because the energies were there on the planet. But then people recognized, oh, this feels nice, and it grew. And this is not just the sacred sites you're aware of. There are many churches in the United States that Peter has been in and in Europe, where people have prayed a lot. And you walk in and you just feel the presence. Now, of course, most people still play the game of, oh, little old me, this is the presence of the Lord I'm feeling. God's coming through here. And no, you're feeling the presence of humanity making a connection over time and space again and again to build another layer of organization into it. Because you're in a 3D existence, then of course physical things are important like time and space and location. All right. But really, it all goes back to the question of organization and the fact that it's done repeatedly there by groups there. Uh, we know Peter's rambling, so we're going to stop and just say, do you get it?
I do get it. I do get it. I want to quickly add in that, Peter has channeled Three Eye Atlas, and I just want to quickly touch that there are a lot of galactic codes that are coming to Earth, and I hear that Three Eye Atlas is a living being, and it also has living beings on it. And all of these are helping bring new codes to Earth and humans to change our DNA and to upgrade us. Can you quickly say something about that?
Oh, it wants to say hi. It's like, thank you for
Okay.
recognizing me. And then it said, it's also saying, thank you for cluing Peter in because he didn't know about the living beings on it part. So let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, what you are seeing is a more dense, hence more visible in your reality version of
yes,
a light ship.
yeah,
Okay. All right. When a symbiosis, a group consciousness is created between beings who reside and objects, although we're not objects, we're consciousness that is attached to an object. This is what, people have a lot of trouble on your planet understanding that the rock you hold in your hand is a consciousness. Now, it doesn't have a lot to it because basically it just holds the structure of what it is. And that's why you see it as a rock and you call it inert. But it is consciousness in a physical form, uh, a jar of consciousness, so to speak. Okay. And it's not the jar that is the container, it is the consciousness itself that is the container that has become physical. So, of course, we are here. Of course, we're involved with many, many entities. And what we wish to say is thank you to everyone who's been receiving what is given. We are so pleased with your amount of openness to receive. And part of this is so beautiful in that you on earth get excited. Oh, this event, I've been given the gift. There's a star in the sky, the omen. And you get excited, and that allows more of it to come through. Now, if we can get you to the point of understanding that your excitement is what is allowing it to come through, take another step. Your excitement is what creates this. We're just here to show you and reflect back in another way the mirror of your magnificence. And of course, we're just part of the party. You know, Peter's checking for fact now. Hold on a second. Uh, 8,400 plus different species have done galactic projection of energy to you through portals and through events like comets, through meteors hitting your planet. And that's just the ones who have done the physical parts of it. It
yes.
numbers beyond the tens of thousands for those who are doing the spiritual, energetic part of it. And so
Mhm.
we're thrilled you're singling us out because we love what we do and
Yeah,
we're happy to be part of this
yeah,
uplift, the great
yeah,
uplift, because your uplift is our uplift.
right,
Uh, but the bigger message is,
yeah.
can you hold the awe of it all?
Correct. Correct. Well, and I'm just going to add in that it's not just for the Earthlings. There are other beings that they're showering codes to, other multi-dimensional beings on Earth that they're also showering codes to. So it's for all of us on Earth, not just the humans.
Yeah, you're aware that this, I'm Peter. I still live in mostly the Peter shell. It's like Tracy's always talking to the Telosians on the inner earth and stuff, and I'm not that close to them yet. So, but yeah, you're more aware of there's a lot of higher density beings that are on this planet that, that are not human and they're
Yeah,
earthlings.
yeah, yeah. The very last question I'm going to throw in because I love a very dear friend of mine who had a event where um, he thought he he got that he was the reincarnation of Jesus, and what I got was that we are all receiving the Christ consciousness vibe, and it's very easy for some of us to interpret that as being a reincarnation of. And what I got is that we are all on this earth to be us, not to be our past lives. If in fact it was or not, I'm not here to verify any past lives, but I do think that a message for everyone is we are here to live our lives, the one that we're incarnated here and now, and to enjoy and make the most growth out of that. So, does anyone have a comment, maybe Jesus Christ or Yeshua, about this topic of
Okay,
reincarnation
I'm gonna
and
bring Yeshua in a second.
okay.
Okay. But first, I want to just share a little bit of what I understand
Yeah.
because one of the previous entities I was speaking of actually used that example of how come so many people say they're Christ. Okay. And so the way I understand it is before you incarnate, you come to the planet and you go, okay, this is what's in my energy field. This is what I want to explore and think. And you go to the mall.
Hmm.
All right. And you go, oh, look, I'll take this karma from that person and I'll take
Dolores Cannon wrote about it as imprinting, but
imprinting,
I'm
right?
not
Okay.
gonna. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm going to take this from here. Now, at the mall, one of the anchor stores, the big one at the end, is the Jesus store. Okay.
Okay.
Because it's so popular in our
Yeah.
mythos and culture. So everybody brings in a piece of that almost all the time. And
Hmm.
as you start to get inputs of, I'm a bigger consciousness than I am, oh, I'm the incarnation of Jesus. Yes, you are. And no, you're not the whole incarnation, reincarnation. You just got brought a piece of that energy with you, or as you called it, and Dolores called it, the imprint. All right. And so that's what's going on. Now, people who don't understand the multidimensionality nature of what's going on, or when they start to lose their grounding, and I don't mean grounded by staying on Earth, by losing, all of a sudden, in Christ, and then you go out there and do all that stuff. Then they start saying, oh, I'm the incarnation of this. Me personally, it was a very big challenge because part of what I came to heal was I brought in a lot of what I call sod energy, Marquis de Sade. It's like, oh, why the hell did I choose that? And of course, to heal it, of course, right? All right, but it's not something you go and brag about. Okay. All right. So having said all that and getting the understanding that you already have, let's bring in the Christ, okay? Hello, Daryl. You see, when I make this connection and speak to you, it's a matter of ease. It's no longer I have to be the teacher. So thank you for being who you are and just sharing experiences as beautifully as you share them. So I get to laugh and express who I am. Now, people do not understand beyond their religious teaching, I am the Son of God. And it's true, I am, but that's just such a limited role to play since we all are
We are. We're
creator.
all God.
Yes, we all creator beings, okay?
Yeah.
Now, to help bridge this transformation that is taking place at this time, there was a team of us who had to spend many lifetimes, some of them incarnate before on your planet, to be ordered to come in that I could move to the level of this Messiah being with the support of the apostles, with the support of the Marys and the Magdalene. And this was a lot of us over many lifetimes to set this up. Okay. So I want you to understand that when someone taps into what they would call the Christ energy, they're tapping into a field of over 20 distinct, by your standards, great beings, with me, the persona of me, at the forefront of it, which is why it's even more prevalent that so many people get this. You don't sit there and hear people right and left say, oh, I'm the incarnation of John, or I'm the incarnation of Paul or Luke, right? You all hear the Christ because it was one big consciousness that
Mhm.
played different roles. And because I'm the most identifiable of that, that's what people see.
Yes.
Now, the way that I wish to speak to you, because this will come up more and more, this is the attraction pattern. Peter gets it. You're going to get it. You're going to get it more of, oh, you're a great being. Well, let me reveal this aspect of myself to you. Okay. All right. And it's not that we are great beings. Of course you are, but you're also just realizing this is what it's like to be a God source energy being in a human body. Uh, so as the people reveal themselves to, first of all, there's the acknowledgement. Yes, you are. Then there is the opportunity for teaching. What does this mean? Can you look at this meaning outside of what you've been given before? Okay? Because the whole mythos of as I am presented does away with reincarnation. There's none of that. You die and you go off. It's a one and done. All right. So the whole filter of which we've learned about who the Christ essence energy is in direct opposition to the reality of the Christ energy.
Mhm,
So the opportunity then becomes available to say, okay, you're tasting it. Now, can you see that you're not tasting one, you're tasting the soup? And then
mhm,
from there, can you find your place in that soup to anchor and embody? Because this is what your soul did by bringing in that imprint to be here and express now. And this is your learning opportunity to learn, oh, this is how the process works for me. It's not just a reincarnation, it's an incarnation. And it's not just a reincarnation of my past, it's a reincarnation of the collective past. And it's not just a reincarnation of the Christ, it's a reincarnation that brings in a lot of the flavor and the energy and the spices of the Christ consciousness. That's the teaching. And that's going to be when people get that, it'll be such a big leap because then they'll have the ease and grace that you have. And that's when life becomes a joy rather than worry and problem. Because a lot of people, like, let's face it, you think you're the Christ incarnate? Well, boy, he got run through and killed, didn't he? So it's like really, as soon as you hold that understanding or the energetic imprint that you have that energy without the understanding of what it really means, then all the guilt and shame and denial kicks in. And that's, of course, the healing that needs to take place on the planet. So the game is always, can you work with those individuals and the collective to do that awareness so they can have that healing?
Beautiful. People will take that a lot better coming from you than an average human being. So,
Yeah, this is Peter talking. So I got introduced to the oneness blessing, right? And it was really cool. It was that thing I do with our eyes, you know? And I got
yeah.
introduced to that. And one of the people who introduced me to it was a unity minister, largest unity church in the country in Houston, huge, okay? And his and unity's Christian. Let's face it, it's it's a Christian religion. It's New Age, but it's Christian. So all these people would come up to him and say, "What about this?" And he would say to them, I think Jesus would want you to receive it. That was how he handled it.
True, true. Yep, perfect. Well, this has been excellent, Peter. I always love this, and thank you and Tracy for everything that you guys do.
Daryl, thank you for one, being my friend, two, being a teacher mentor, even though you're not, playing that role actively, just being around you, I learn and grow. And three, thank you for booking sessions with me. I appreciate the fact that you respect me and my work and support what I'm doing this way. It's like gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Thank you, Daryl.